who was once a Democratic congressman, but now took a different gig. He's the Attorney General of California. General Becerra, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Jake.
So what's your response to White House Chief of Staff Reince Priebus saying that this is the Ninth Circuit Court going bananas?
Another case of the administration in denial. You just have to read the Constitution. It's very simple. You can't force states to do things that the Constitution lets them do. And public safety is one of those items that a state has the responsibility to take care of, not the federal government. And so Trump administration can say as much as it wants, but we're beginning to see all those words of Donald Trump, the candidate, unravel as he tries to exercise power as Donald Trump, the president.
What do you say to the average American sitting at home who says, hey, look, I understand that most undocumented immigrants are otherwise law-abiding and are peaceful people, but sanctuary cities seem to also protect violent criminals. And why can't these cities actually take care of deporting these people who are a threat to the community?
Actually, Jake, you got it half right and half wrong, and if you're quoting what others are saying, because one, California and our cities, we're locking up violent people, those who are committing serious felonies. They're going to jail, and if they are undocumented, they're likely being deported right after they finish their sentence. What we're not interested in doing is doing the work of federal immigration authorities to go hunt down people, whether at a grocery store, at a child's school, or at a place of worship. What we're trying to do is make sure that we allow our police officers and our sheriffs to do their work so they can gain the cooperation and the confidence of the people that they can report crime as witnesses, report crime as victims, and we want that relationship to continue. Everything the president has been doing has eroded the trust that communities can have, especially communities, immigrant communities, with our local law enforcement, because they're getting swept up with ICE enforcement when our local folks aren't in the business of deportation. They're in the business of public safety.
Do you support the measure to make California a sanctuary state?
I've yet to see find anyone who can define what a sanctuary jurisdiction is, because it means a lot of different things. For me, when we talk about sanctuary, we're trying to make sure that people who are law-abiding, working very hard, who have their families and concentrate on that, aren't caught up in this net that Donald Trump's authorities are now exercising in places to capture people who are just going to work. Capturing young men and women who are DACA recipients, who are dreamers, who under the administration are still permitted to go ahead and work and live in this country. And so what we're trying to make sure is that there's protection for people who are working very hard. But serious criminals, lock them up and deport them if they don't have documents.
If California can ignore laws like immigration laws that it doesn't like, this is another argument, what's to stop another state from refusing to honor different laws, civil rights laws, for example? Isn't this a precedent, this stance against abiding by federal immigration laws, that only works when it's laws you don't like?
See, and Jake, again, I know that's what people are saying, but everything you just said falls on its head because it's a false premise. An executive order is not a law. A law must be passed by Congress. California respects all federal laws right now. We respect the federal Constitution, but we're under no obligation to respect an executive order which violates the U.S. Constitution, as we now have heard another court say about another Trump executive order. The overreach under the Constitution isn't something that the courts will permit. And so, Jake, California is not violating any federal law. California is simply saying to a president who's overreached beyond what he can under the Constitution that we don't have to respect a dictate from a president who probably hasn't read the Constitution in quite some time.
Attorney General Xavier Becerra, thank you so much. It's good to see you again.
Thank you.
Our coverage of this breaking news continues up next. The former mayor of Newark, New Jersey, a sanctuary city, he also happens to be Senator Cory Booker. Stay with us.